Hi everyone and welcome to Pro Quality Community. My name is Vyacheslav and I will be the host of today's session. Here with me also our technical moderator Timur on the background. And we are happy today to have all you here for the launch of our brand new series of events that we called AI at Projects. This series is all about real AI solutions implemented by our quality engineers in the company on their own actual projects. You will see live demos, hear technical details, and honest stories about what worked well and what was challenging. And what's more interesting, you will see real results. And it doesn't matter if you have ever touched AI or you are already working with it. We hope that you will walk away from after this event with practical ideas that you can use and apply to your own project. And today's first session is called Making Space for Real Testing, AI Agents in QA. And let me introduce our dear speaker and guest, Hanna Kviatkouskaya. Hanna's background is quite interesting. She didn't start her career in IT field. She actually studied economics and transitioned into software testing later. She began her QA journey on a large-scale project for Liberty Global, where the quality processes were extremely well structured. Today Hanna works as a QA lead on Leap project, our internal EPAM platform that brings together everything related to AI across all the company, from learning and skills to adoption initiatives. On this project, Hanna started experimenting with AI agents to build her own QA workflows and automating routine QA tasks. Hi, Hanna, and welcome to Pro Quality Community.
Hello, Slava. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here today.
Uh, I have a question for you before we start. At what point did you realize that AI can actually be useful in your day-to-day activities?
I think the moment was when I noticed how much time we spend on routine tasks, writing test strategies, creating test cases, bug reportings. These tasks are important, but they are also quite repetitive. So I started experimenting with AI to see if it could help automate this kind of work while keeping the structure and quality that QA requires. So that's exactly how the idea of this QA agent started.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for very interesting insights, and they really set the stage for today's talk. Before we move to the main part, everyone, please drop your questions in our chat, and we will address them to our dear speaker in the Q&A part. So, without any further ado, let's get started. And Hanna, the stage is yours.
Thanks, Slava. Thanks. So let me start with something simple. We all know AI is powerful. We all know it helps. That part is no longer the question. The real question, where do you start and how do you make it practical, not just impressive? In QA, we spend a lot of time on structure, tickets, test cases, formatting, updates. It's necessary work, but it's not quality engineering. So I asked myself, what if UI removes the routine and QA keeps the thinking? So that's what this story is about. Before we go deeper into the problem, let me briefly explain why this topic is personal for me. I've been working in software for over 7 years, and for the last 2 years, I've been leading QA on Leap project. Leap is an internal platform that aggregates AI-related knowledge, skills, and initiatives across EPAM. So this means we operate at scale with multiple stakeholders, frequent updates, and high visibility. In this kind of environment, quality is not just about testing features. It's about designing a system that can sustain speed without losing reliability. And over time, I realized something important. Quality doesn't break because of lack of effort. It breaks because of lack of structure. So let me walk you through it step by step. First, I'll show you the context. Then I'll explain where QA time really goes. And finally, I'll show how agents change the operating model. Let me show you the reality we work in. We're a small product team. We release almost every week. Requirements change constantly, sometimes in the middle of delivery cycle. And at the same time, the product is actively used. Expectations are high. Almost tested are not acceptable. So the real tension is not speed versus quality. The real tension is how do you stay reliable in a system that never stands still? Testing has to move fast without losing depth, without becoming mechanical, without becoming superficial. And before AI, our process was not chaotic. It was actually structured. We had weekly releases. We have manual and automation working together. Feature strategies, well-defined Jira and Confluence artifact. So the problem wasn't lack of process. We built an organized process on paper. It looks mature. But here, what really happens when a feature grows? It touches multiple components. It integrates with other services. It has dozens of data combinations. So to design proper coverage, you need to hold all of that context in your head at once. So that cognitive load. And even experienced engineers miss things, not because they're careless, but because complexity scales faster than attention. Then comes second layer. One feature often means 10 or more test cases. Each one needs fields, links, labels, updates, components, and gradually something shifts. So you are not designing quality anymore. You're maintaining the machinery around it. That was the moment I realized the problem wasn't discipline. The problem was human bandwidth. What is one of the most time-consuming part of QA? Jira ticket creation. It's never just create and move on. It's, again, fields, labels, components, links, transitions, and you repeat this dozens of times per week, most of it routine. But here's the problem. If you miss one required field, the ticket simply disappears from the board. We had a case where a missing label meant the ticket never appeared. We thought developers picked it up. Developers thought nothing was submitted. We lost a full working day, not because of complexity, just because structure wasn't enforced. And when you release every week, this overhead compounds, quietly creating risk. At some point, I noticed something uncomfortable. We were not struggling with testing. We were struggling with control. QA was enforcing structure, fixing tickets format, explaining Jira rules, and that is still work, but it's not quality engineering. The more structured the system became, the less cognitive space we had for real thinking. And when I stepped back, I realized that I wasn't optimizing quality. I was optimizing the process. So the more structured our workflow became, the more routine it created. And it's not a Jira problem. It's not a people problem. It's about repetition. I was spending energy on predictable rule-based actions, not on analysis, not on risks, not on quality thinking. And repeating actions like that are not a discipline issue. They are an automation candidates. So that was the moment I stopped asking, how do I do this faster? And I started asking why I'm doing this at all. What does this actually look like in practice? I didn't build a complex AI platform. I started simple. Instead of collecting fancy prompts, I focused on 3 practical agents, the ones that would remove the most routine work immediately. The first agent owns feature test strategy. Its goal is simple. Make sure nothing structural is missed. It may generate more checks than needed, and that's intentional. I'd rather delete something than discover a gap later. So my job not to write from scratch. My job is to review, adjust, and think. The second agent generates test cases based on my approved checklist. For a medium scenario, that usually 5-10 test cases written in one consistent style. After I review them, the agent creates a Jira ticket with all required fields, labels, priorities, formatting. So no manual cloning anymore, no field by field routine. Again, I review, I don't mechanically write. And third agent handles bug reports. So no matter who reports a bug, it always looks consistent and it works fast. If someone sends a screenshot in chat, for example, I forward it to the agent. If a manager wants to pass this a production issue, I forward this message to our agent. The agent structures the report properly. I don't waste time wording it perfectly. I focus on whether the bug is valid and how critical it is. So what actually changed? The most visible impact was time. Strategy analysis went from hours to under one. Test cases creation became a structured step instead of manual grind. Bug reporting stopped being a risk zone. But time was not the biggest win. Consistency was. Every strategy follows the same logic. Every test case follows the same structure. Every bug is created predictably. And that changed something deeper. Create time shifted from controlling the process to thinking about risks. That's when AI stopped being a helper, just a helper, and became part of workflow. So now let's move from slides to reality. I've shown you the idea. Now I'll show you how that actually works in real QA workflow. So just structured agents solving very practical problems. And we will start from the QA task creation. So here's the first agent owns feature test strategy. It works with one simple input, a parent Jira ticket. Its goal is simple. Make sure nothing structural is missed. It may generate more checks than needed, as I said, and that's intentional, so we did it on purpose. I'd rather delete something, yeah? So I've prepared two examples, one poorly described story and one well-described story. So where we have acceptance criteria and description. So I'll start with weaker input first. We start new chart and just put link to a chart. Yeah. Why I decided to start with that type of story. So this is important because in real life, not every story is clean, structured, or even ready for testing. Yeah. So while the agent is generating the strategy, let me briefly explain how it works. The agent reads parent Jira ticket directly. It generates the strategy preview first. Sorry, I was interrupted. So it generates a strategy preview, validates the required sections, and only then creates the Jira subtasks. So it's not just generating text, it's enforcing a structured QA artifacts, yeah? So, and here's the result. As I said, the quite huge the strategy, so we will delete in the review stage of this strategy. So, so even through the story itself, it's not well defined, the structure of the strategy is still preserved. So we have in scope, out of scope, assumptions, risks, traceability matrix, data and state matrix, and full checklist for small critical path and extended test levels, and regression checkpoints. So here's the agent. Even suggest me to create 3 clarifications because ticket has no acceptance criteria design specifics. So we can proceed with it, or we can ask it to create create a subtask. So for now, I just need to subtask to review and, for example, modify this test strategy. Sorry. Here we can see the CodeMe issues server error. Again, so it can happen. Sometimes I face in with such issues twice, so let's see whether it will create or again we've got an issue. But anyway, so we have already full prepared the test strategy. So while the agent is thinking, we can proceed, for example, with test cases creation or with another test strategy. So, but let's give a chance to Academy to create the subtask that we could check how it works in Jira. So let's briefly take a look on the test strategy structure. So the agent identifies the areas that typically affected testing, like, for example, filtering logic, sorting behavior, state handling, empty loading error states. So a lot of. It also clearly separates what's in scope, what out of scope, which helps avoid testing things that are not actually related to the change. So another helpful and useful part in it is traceability matrix. And here you can see that requirements marked as a derived. So, which is exactly sign for us that something wrong with this story. So this means the story didn't provide explicit acceptance criteria, so the agent interfered testable requirements from the context. Let's check whether it works. Yeah, it works fine. So now we can open the link. We can check here again the Jira ticket preview, that summary is correct, parent ticket priority major, and creation payload subtask, the parent ticket title. I defined such type of title because it was important for us. So yeah, create task, the parent ticket number and summary, the same priority as a parent ticket, and mini test strategy. For example, during the, review, you decide that, okay, assumption and risks are not relevant. So we just clearly just delete it and you can leave your test strategy. You can leave everything in your test strategy that you want or you think that it's relevant. Or, for example, if we have like 2 redundant checks for extended, for example. Yeah. So I think we can compare it with a well-structured story. Let's try the story with the good defined acceptance criteria. Again, just put in link to the agent and wait while the agent is thinking. Sometimes it can take time. So usually I move to another agent, as I said, working with test cases, bug reports, or doing, some paperwork. So for a good story, we took with a clear scope, clear acceptance criteria, defined roles. So here's the agent shouldn't compensate the chaos. The checks should be more precise. Again, structured input, strategic output. The better you describe the agent what to do, the better output you get. So we all know this statement. Okay. While it's thinking, it's already done. Okay. Let's check what's subtask created for well-structured story. So now let's compare this with well-structured story. So here's the structure of the strategy, exactly the same. So in scope, out of scope, assumptions, risk, traceability matrix, and so on. The difference should be in a level of precision. So because the story contains the clear acceptance criteria, the agent can generate more detailed and more focused check. The scope becomes clearer and the checks map directly to the requirements. So in the traceability matrix, for example, we don't have anymore the derived requirements, the marked as derived. They come directly from acceptance criteria. So the agent doesn't need to interfere or make assumptions. Instead, it translates to the requirements, translates into precise testing strategy. So the structure remains the same, but the checks become more accurate and easier to validate. And for example, even for a bad story, if you have the weird written checks, it also a signal for you to clarify this question with a BA. Yeah. So, for example, I'm not sure if I see some here. For example, navigate away and back or refresh. So you need for me, it's a signal that I need to clarify all these statements. What will happen with the back? What will happen with the refresh, and etc. So we can use all this, not only checklist, but all this test strategy as a questions for a BA. So if we don't understand anything here, so we need to clarify it with a BA. Okay, we have test strategy, we have checklist. So once the strategy is ready, the next step is turning that structure into atomic test cases. So that's where the second agent comes in. Okay, let's use a good written story. And let me take the checks from the smoke. Usually on my project, we create test cases only for a smoke and critical path testing levels, but here just use smoke. So we have test agent, AI agent test cases, add new chat, and just put these checks here, yeah, and send it. Instead of manually writing dozens of test cases, yeah, for example, like here, so we have 3 for smoke testing and 12 for critical path testing. Even if we will combine these test cases, it can take 6, for example, yeah, 8 test cases. Anyway, it's like repetitive work. Okay, the agent asked me to provide a parent issue because the agent wants to link these test cases to a ticket. Okay, no problem. Let's provide him a link for parent Jira ticket. Now, again, agent should recheck, okay, is it your QA task? So is it fine to link it to here? Yes, it's fine. So I'm checking that everything is fine and answering just with one letter. Again, we do not want to chat with agent a lot. So just A, B, yes, no, Jira ticket. This is it. So we here do not just talking with the agent. Here the agent asked me to put a component because the parent issue has no component. Okay, let's say that it's adoption radar, for example. Let's choose like that. And agent should add this component to Jira tickets. So as I said, instead of manually writing a dozen of test cases, the agent translates the strategy structure into test scenarios. And here we get structured test cases. We can review the selected component, checklist, whether everything is fine. We wanted to have 3 test cases, yes. So we're just answering A and waiting while agent will create these 3 test cases. Sometimes if we put a 10 plus test cases, I faced with such situation when the agent started to combine these test cases. And if you don't want it, so you just need to communicate with the agent and said like, no, I need exactly like 12 test cases separate without combination. But sometimes when I see like in this example, I see that it's 12 test cases, it's too much for me, for example. So sometimes I can say like, here are the titles of test cases, please combine everything as possible. Again, sometimes it works, sometimes not, because we are thinking agent just generate repetitive actions. Okay, we have 3 test cases, 3 issues in a Jira, so we can open it and check. So we have a test case, well-written title, the correct priority, the correct component, labels, smoke, because for smoke testing we need this label, and it's written in the prompt. Test steps and the linked issue is a test of this QA task. For example, we can relink it to a story. Let's try to ask the agent. For example, we forgot that we should link not to a QA task, but to a story. And I will ask link these tests to this story. Let's see how it works. It should link. Okay, so the key idea here is that test cases are not generated randomly. They are derived directly from a QA strategy. So this keeps testing aligned with a strategy. Okay, link to this case story. Let's recheck. So here we have one link for QA task. Let's update the story, and now we have link for user story. Yeah, so the same. For example, we forgot that it's not a smoke, it's a critical path testing. So I can ask the agent, please remove label smoke and change priority to minor, something like that. So yeah. So instead of writing 10 or 20, sometimes we have 20 test cases manually, we just review them. We can, for example, we don't like this first step. It's like, it's not relevant for us. So we can just remove it or change. Anyway, it will be faster than you will be creating the manual test cases like 5, 10 test cases. It's easier just to review something, delete or modify. So once testing starts, the next challenge appears, bug reporting. And let me close it. And now we're moving to my favorite agent, the bug reporting agent. This one is probably the most fun to use because bug reporting is something every tester does constantly, and it's also something that often becomes repetitive. So let's see how the bug agent works in practice, and I'll show you 3 very different inputs: screenshots, a casual chat message, and poorly written bug title. So let me create the new chat here for a bug report agent. And yeah, let's start with the first example where the only input in screenshot. So I've prepared the two screenshots for yeah, for actual result and expected results. So let's take a quick look. So actual results, here we don't have counts. I'll show you the expected result. So an expected result. So yeah, you can see that we don't have counts here. So let's just pick these two images and put it to a agent. So no descriptions, no steps, just visual evidence. So let's see what the agent does with that. And before the agent creates the bug, again, specific of my process, it asks a few quick questions. In our Jira setup, we have required fields like components, labels, environment, and fixed version. So yeah, here the agent asked me whether the what a component it should use. SDLC maturity program, the confidence high. For that example, sorry. For that example, let's agree with the agent. Okay, I'm agree this component, pick this component. Then I need to choose labels I have to use. For example, D and environment, let's say it was on prod and fixed version. Again, for this example, let's imagine that I know fixed version and I just put the fixed version. And this is quick description what the agent saw from this screenshot. Like it was again, because I highlighted to the agent, it's understood correctly. It's fine that we need to guide these agents, and I see that it's understand correctly. I'm fine with this. Priority proposed minor. Let's agree with it. We will change later. And attachments, actual and expected results. So let's send answers and wait what we get as a ticket. So all these questions, we need to make sure those fields are never forgotten. So because especially when the manager or developer want to create the bug, they usually don't know what exactly labels we use because the bug creation keepers is the testers. So the agent will not generate the bug report until they are provided. And again, at the same time, the goal of agent is to make our work easier, not more complicated. So instead of typing everything manually, we simply answer with letters, just selecting the option we need. And this is it. So this makes the process both structured and very fast. Okay, we just need to check whether everything is fine, whether we like everything, and okay. We can answer, okay, yes, proceed, whatever you want. So the agent analyzes the screenshots, identifies the UI difference, and builds a structured bug report. Yeah, we need to, I suppose, to wait here a bit. You can notice the issues here. It's code.me related issues, usually do not affect us, and they resolve themselves in a row. So we usually do not even take a look for these issues. Okay, we need to wait while the agent will generate the ticket. Meanwhile, I don't know. Okay, it's already done. So let's check the defect, and now we have bug report. For example, I will describe you later that agents need to be reviewed and need to be modified, so it's fine. For example, for my current agent, I don't like that the agent started to add the data for the bug title. So I need to review this agent and like to do not see these numbers in the title because it's not relevant. So we have the proper component, labels, fixed version, priority, description, steps to reproduce. Again, the same with the test cases. If I do not agree with steps to reproduce, I can slightly modify them. And attached screenshots. I also can ask the agent to link to appropriate story, to try to find appropriate story. With the minimal input, the agent can produce a report that developers can actually work with. Let's move on. And now let's take a look at a more realistic situation. Imagine a developer or product manager sends you a message in Teams, for example, yeah, or in a Slack. So I also prepared the example, something like this. So could you please create a bug, something wrong? Yeah, and with a screenshot. Sometimes it can be just screenshot. So we just putting this screenshot to a chat. Yeah, as you can see, not a bug report, not even a ticket, just a message in chat. So let's feed it to the agent. Again, we will have all this loop with components and labels. So the agent extracts a problem description, identifies the agent's functionality and affected functionality, and covers the message into a structured bug. For Academy, if you work in the same chat, agent can hallucinate. For example, if you post a lot of defects to the one agent, to the one chat, the agent can start in one time. It can start thinking that, okay, I need to use the same component, the same fixed version to all defects. In that case, we just go into the next chat. I think it's, yeah, like in this case, you can see that it used the same component, the same label, the same environment, which is, for example, I don't like. Let's try the new chat and do it again. It's unfortunately, it's a CodeMe specific. It's a specific of one tool. I'll show you later what we have else for such type. But I like this tool because of UI friendly, and it's very easy to communicate with agents here. I would say the CodeMe is my favorite one. So let's. As you can see, again, the components, maturity leaderboard. Let's say I do not agree with that. I'm putting no. And here I have reply with one letter, but I want to try two letters. I want to have two labels. I don't agree with and here, let's answer D. For a fixed version, for example, I don't know fixed version. I'm not sure about fixed version. So I just leave it as empty. Let's see what the agent answered. As I answered no, I don't agree with the component you selected. I expect to have, and you can see the confidence low. So I expect to have the full list of components, and I need to just pick the correct one. The components agent takes from Jira. We have defined components in Jira, so it shows me the list of components from Jira. We can go next because we have more components, but let's pick D, for example, yeah. So the agent captured everything is correct. So the labels, environment, fixed version empty is fine, and attachment. So we expect to have all these at one. while agent is thinking, we can open the previous one and discuss. It's the same issue, but again, I highlighted the issues of CodeMe. When you work in the same chat, it can it's very useful when you create bugs, for example, for regression testing, and you have mostly the same fixed version, the same labels. Or you work with feature testing, so you test one user story and you understand that the components of these defects will be the same, and usually fixed version the same and labels the same. So in that case, you can easily work with in one chat. Okay, the agent created the ticket, so we will open it, and it has the correct component, correct labels, empty fixed version, and screenshot. So instead of manually rewriting messages from chat, I can convert them into structured bug report in seconds. So I just make a screenshot, put it to an agent, and then I can just slightly modify the steps, for example, or the actual expected result. Okay, we took a look on two examples. Let's check the most realistic examples. Let's say, so we have, let's start with again with a new chat, as we have like two different bug reports, and we just can just to type. We can type in English, but you can also type on your own language, which is also very helpful and useful when you don't have a time. So let's say like this, for example, 403 error. Oh my God, sorry. Error when I click, describing very easily. So do not think how you wording it. Click on resources link on use cases detail page. I took areas from my project, and okay, so just easily what happened. You do not think how the title will be created, so we will review and modify if needed. Again, we need to put all these components and labels. Now to be quicker, I just answer yes, a fixed version, let's leave empty. We can check the preview here, but again, I usually accept the proposal from the agent and then modify it in a Jira ticket. Of course, except when the proposal is like the has a huge difference between you wanted and you've got. Okay, ok. Just quickly, without a lot of text. So sometimes we know sometimes bug reports look like this, like short, vague, like missing half of a context. So let's see if agent can improve or just document it. So I would say that it's a poorly described bug report. For example, it missed the description, which is I don't like. I can modify it, or let's ask the agent, I want to have a description. Let's see what agent will show us. Here's this description. Okay. Okay, let's try again. No. Describe. Oh, sorry. No. Add additional section. Description into description. Let's see. I never did this, so we can see together in live what it will be. Okay, it's a modified. Fine. It's the agent added the description. again, the agents are very simple. They do not overthink or think instead of you. So you need to clarify everything, and you need to review again and adjust. We have everything, all labels, all. No, I didn't ask to provide some links, but we can ask. So the same input with the structure. So the goal here is not like replacing testers. Yeah. So the agent do not test instead of you. The goal is removing the repetitive part of bug reporting and letting testers focus on investigation and quality instead of spending time formatting bugs. We spend time like understanding them. Yeah. Another thing I want to highlight here, these agents are not tied to one specific platform. For example, I originally built them in CodeMe. I like CodeMe. But I also moved the same agents into VS Code. For example, let me show you. So I slightly adjusted the prompts, but the core logic stays exactly the same. So once you design your agent properly, you can easily reuse them across different AI environments, depending on your project setup, tools, or workflow. So in other words, build once, reuse everywhere. So here I have, I'm not going to text it here, but you can see that here's the also chat with where I asked to create the bug with the same components, labels, environments, the same answers, like just letters. And I have the preview bug here in MD file format. And here, so I could ask to create the same integration with Jira. It can create the ticket. This agent I slightly modified also to refine bug duplicates. So before, when I posting in the chat the bug, it's starting from checking whether we have duplicates here. So if not, it can create bug. If the agent found the duplicate, it highlights to me. So the same, yeah. It doesn't matter what platform you use. It depends on how you described the goal of this agents. Okay, so the important part is not the UI, not the tooling. It's rules inside each agent. The rules live in prompts. Like one defined, the agent doesn't improvise. It enforces structure. So this is not AI replacing QA thinking. It's AI taking ownership of repeatable structure, so I can focus on risks, coverage, and real quality decisions. Okay, I think we finished with the demo, so we can move back to the slide. Yeah, so we've seen the impact. Time saved, structure improved, less routine. But the most important part is not the numbers, is how you approach AI in QA. If I had to summarize everything into practical takeaways, it would be this, like automate structure. Do not try to automate thinking. Automate structure. Fields, formatting, labels, templates, everything repetitive and rule-based. That's where AI is strongest. Keep ownership. AI generates, you decide. Agents can hallucinate. Models needs updates. Prompts evolve. So ownership always stays with QA. You review, you remove, you adjust. AI supports. It doesn't replace judgment. Start small. Don't build a platform. Don't redesign your workflow. Start with one agent that removes visible pain. Like make it simple, make it fast, and very importantly, don't build an agent that chats with you for 20 minutes. If your colleagues need to read paragraphs or go through 5 clarification loops, they won't use it. An internal agent must be input, output, clear, short, structured. No greetings, no essays, no motivational speeches, because the goal is time saving, not a conversation. And that's why the principle is simple. AI removes routine, QA keeps responsibility. Uh, what you've just seen is a version one. It works, but it's only the starting point. The next step is integration, connecting agents into structured pipeline, expanding into other routine heavy areas like, for example, reporting. Yeah. And supporting automation. It also can with a clearer, structured inputs. So the principle is simple. Wherever there is repeatable structure, there is a scale potential. Um, I'll finish with something very concrete. If you want AI to actually work in your QA process, not just look impressive in a demo, here's the what really matters. These aren't technical tricks. They are design principle. Like start small, one workflow, make it stable, then expand. Define rules, not wishes. AI needs structure, clear input, clear output format, clear boundaries. Design for predictable output. If every response look different, you don't have a system, you have randomness. So instead, integrate into existing tools also. Yeah, don't invent a new ecosystem. Make AI work inside your Jira, your Confluence, your real process. And just as important, avoid common traps. Don't build a super agent. Complexity kills adoption. Don't write kilometer long prompts. Clarity beats cleverness. And don't turn it into endless chatting. If AI creates more work than it removes, something wrong. So for me, the mindset shift was simple. AI doesn't change my standards. It changes how I spend my time. So practical always beats magical. This is practical part. So no AI transformation, no complex architecture, just four steps. First, find repetition. If something drains attention every week, it's a candidate. Second, prompt. Don't aim for perfect. Aim for usable structure. Uh, Third, connected to one workflow, one output, one problem. So do not try to build agent which resolve all your problems, all your wishes. Yeah. So try from the one problem. And finally, close the loop, save minutes, reduce errors, standardize. So again, start small, build one simple agent, let structure do the scaling. Uh, I didn't build a magic. I didn't. I built structure that saves time. Small, focused agents, less routine, more real key work. So if this sparks even one idea you can apply in your own workflow, that's already a win. Thank you very much, and happy to take your questions.
Hannah, thank you so much for the talk, and it was really, really valuable. It's more important. It was really practical oriented. Looking into the chat, it was very hot discussion. There were a lot of discussions there, and many people want to have such agents as you created here. So, um, and yeah, everyone just seen that AI is not a magic. Yeah. Um, so we have a lot of questions. We won't be able to handle all of them. But before we move to the Q&A part, dear audience, please scan QR code that you can see on the screen, or we will send right now the link in the chat. So you can rate our event and also give a badge to our dear speaker. That's very important for us to understand whether the talk was interesting for you. So let's move to the Q&A part now. And the first question that we receive was the following. In such a time-intensive environment, how you find time to dedicate creation agents, create, test, adjust, retest? Uh, are you using your own working hours or off work time? If during your working hours, how you convince client to propose such intensive schedule and dedicate some time to agents creation? It's a bit long.
It's a very good question. Yeah. So of course, it's depends on your priorities, your maturity. So you cannot say, client, I'm going to set up agents and I need 1 week for this. So you need prioritize your tasks. You have releases, you have your daily tasks, and for example, I usually try to for difficult agents. For example, like I'm working currently with a reporting agent. I can spend, for example, 1 day. So I'm saying that for my team, guys, I'm going this day, I'm going to spend to this agent. But for this lightweight agents, they are very simple. It was like just one prompt and integration to Jira. So I think I spent maximum 2 hours. So it depends on your prioritization and depends on your daily activities. If you have release activities this week, so of course it's understandable that you're not able, you won't be able to integrate the agent this time. But so you need to, okay, spend 2 hours a day for AI, for agents, for your new ideas, and you can easily this report to a client.
Yeah, thank you. I could add that invest one time in this activity, you can save a lot of time in the
Yeah.
future or improve your quality of work. Yeah. Uh, so the next question was the following interesting one. Why did you select Exact Codement but not Elitea or any other tool?
I was trying to work with Elitea and other tools. For me, CodeMe was very easy to use. It's a very UI friendly. I'm not a technical guy, and it was very easy to just put instructions, and it was such easy to integrate with the Jira and a lot of instructions in the CodeMe, so it was easier to me. But as you could notice, a lot of limitations in CodeMe, so now we're moving to VS Code. So from CodeMe, but CodeMe just UI friendly and the same smart as other platforms, because you choosing the model inside of settings.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And one more question that was discussed a lot in the chat. Can you provide the link to this agent in CodeMe? Is it possible to share in Marketplace so maybe everyone could access it and maybe to reuse something there?
Yeah, no problem. I think I will do it during this week, so I will put it to a marketplace. But again, try to start from your own. Try to find your pain and start from a simple prompt, very very simple prompt. Then you will start to modify this prompt like more and more for your wishes. But it's not a problem. I will share the agents in a marketplace.
Yeah, thank you. And answering some questions that were in the chat, guys. So Anna shared her own experience on her own project, and the cases that work in this particular project in this particular environment. So a lot of things can be enhanced from here, reused, and other stuff. Something cannot work in there. So, but this was like honest experience. What is working, right? Am I right, Anna?
Yeah, exactly. So
Okay,
yeah.
go on.
No, I just wanted to highlight that it's like we had our own pains, yeah, with the components. We had pains with. We started from a bug reporting because everyone created bug reports with their own feelings and their own structures. Especially when developers or managers wanted to help us and create a defect, and I usually open this defect and it has just one screenshot or one sentence without any components and any labels, and it's was so hard to report something, to filter something. Yeah. So in that after that scenarios, we decided like, okay, we need one structure. We need that something. Yeah. In my case, agents could create the same structure that no labels or components will be missed.
Mhm.
So we were trying to resolve our pain, and we create the agents for our own. Yeah, so not for we didn't think about all projects and all the stuff we can faced with.
Mm, true. Okay, so we are running out of time a bit. So, dear audience, Anna, thank you again for joining us, for your answers, sharing such practical cases today. And I'm sure that here everyone who joined us today has ideas that can now take back to their own projects. We will add presentation deck to our talk page with the recording after the event, and also we will send a feedback form in an hour. So your feedback is very important, so please take a moment to share your thoughts about this event or the whole series. And speaking of the next events, stay tuned for more real project stories in our AI project series. Join us the next week, next Tuesday at the same time, where we will see how quality engineers from the weakest projects have built their own AI test case generators. And for today, that's all. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And may AI help you focus on what really matters: quality engineering. See you the next event, and goodbye.